Joe Prepper here. I made a video of CUCV dash removal and bulb replacement. I was replacing some bulbs on my CUCV and decided I'd make a video because I shot a few pictures while I was doing it. Just do some hands-on. A lot of times it helps to visualize some things. So anybody out there who's never taken the dash apart, this was my first attempt, and there wasn't much to it. The first thing you do is just take out the screws that are around the outside, and this allows you to take off the black plastic that's holding most of your gauges in place. The first part that comes off is just going to be filthy. Mine was completely dirty, 20 years of dirt back there. Took it out, sprayed it down with some soap and some cleaner, and sprayed it off with a water hose. Sometimes you can spray paint those. That'll give you access to the voltmeter plug, which needs to be unplugged because the voltmeter is attached to that black plastic. I had to replace mine. It wasn't working, so I had to take it out anyway. Behind that, you can see a bunch of red Lexan and the shift indicator spring, which needs to be oiled almost assuredly. You can oil that up, make sure you don't have any problem down the road with tension or with it breaking. From there, you can see the clear Lexan that covers the fuel gauge and the speedometer. Mine was foggy, from time, just grime on it. It needed to be buffed. You can order these online, but they're expensive. I can't remember how much they are, almost $60. Pop out the four nuts that hold it on with a nut driver, and you can get a buffing wheel, some light buffing compound, the same stuff they use to clean headlights with, and usually buff that out. When you go to remove it, just be careful. You've got a spring down there with your shift indicator, and you don't want to pop that off until you're ready. So just ease it off to the side, and you can see a few bulbs up there that you've taken out of the black plastic thing first. Your lights up top, some of your dummy lights. So you take those off, the shift indicator nuts off with your nut driver, and ease it off to the side. Just lay it out there next to the steering column. It's pretty rusted up. It's a good time, like I said, to go back and steel wool it. The main thing is just to get it oiled up so that you don't wind up with some small broken pieces, and then have to fab up something or order it online or find it in a local junkyard. A lot of this stuff is hard to find. Some of it's pretty easy to find. Behind that, you'll see the black metal cover, and that actually is holding the Lexan pieces on. And I wanted to take mine out and, like I said, steel wool, sand, and paint it, just because there was some surface rust on it. It wasn't in bad condition, but as far as looks go, I figured maybe you can see it, so I'm going to take it out and paint it. So what I did with mine, I needed to get that Lexan off. And it looked pretty brittle. That's over there where you see the Gen 1, Gen 2 lights and the dummy light for the oil. The best thing to do is to pry up the little tabs that are right there, and you can kind of see mine's showing clear. I didn't know if I could paint these, if I could clean them up, if I could find a replacement, so I figured I'd take them off and look around. I used just a little pick to pry up the tabs. And you be careful. Again, it's old metal, but I didn't have any problem with mine. I pried them up and just removed them and set them off to the side so that I could decide, if it was worth my time to try and clean them up or find a replacement. As of today, I haven't found a replacement for just those parts. I'm not sure if anybody knows where they're at. Let me know. But mine were in pretty bad shape. What I decided to do with mine is actually place red lights behind them, behind the Gen 1, Gen 2, and oil temp, simply because then the Lexan glows more red. Beyond that, I didn't know what to do. So I got it out, and what I did was again, I'm not trying to create a show quality vehicle here, so I took mine, sanded it down pretty good, and out in the yard just spray painted it with the flat black. After I got everything painted, I thought it looked pretty good. I put a couple of coats on it, light coats. I did it outside though, no paint booth, sitting on a piece of cardboard. Here I'd actually had it painted for a while and then wanted to take a picture of it, so I took it back to where I painted it. But it turned out pretty well. All that dust on it was dust that happened after the fact. You can see how bad the dash is. I bought a new replacement dash. It came in black, and I wanted it to be maroon. So actually, I'm going to have to replace it. In order to get the dash off, I had to remove a bucket. It looked like a custom bucket that was on the radio mounts. Mine had 4 bolts on it. You can see I've already taken them off. I'm actually holding it up there because it's almost impossible to take it off and try and take a picture at the same time. And I was by myself. So what I did was take those 4 bolts off and then allowed that bucket to just slide free, and leaving the main bracket that you see on most of these CUCVs on the dash. That comes out easy enough. There's only there's 4 hex bolts holding it in. Again, I took them off before I took the picture, so I'm holding it up and kind of showing where they were at. It's there's really not a lot to it, but like I said, sometimes just seeing some pictures, some visuals will allow you to go in there and go, okay, well, I can do that and take it apart. For you mechanic guys that aren't worried, I'm sure you guys get out there and just jump right in. Here I'm kind of pointing out some of the screws that are holding on the dash. These are some of the less visible screws. They're underneath. There's one on either side, driver and passenger, so just make sure those are out. Once you get all the screws out, there's some clips underneath, and this is the driver side dash retainer clip, and you can see the ribbon, the ribbon circuits that are where the dash bulbs that we're actually trying to get to. That's the ribbon circuits that you're looking at. But you can see the dash clips there. It's kind of difficult to see in the picture, but once you get underneath and look, you can kind of see which way the dash needs to be slid in order for these retainer clips to slide off. There you can see the passenger side, just to the right side of where the speakers would go in the dash. Once you get those off, the dash just slides right off. This is obviously a dash that came in aftermarket. It had been painted the maroon color. Wasn't painted that well either. So I've got a picture here just kind of showing you how the dash clips go on the actual dash mat. These may have to be taken off and put on the new dash. I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet, so I'm keeping all of it. I knew it was filthy back there. Found a 9mm shell casing, bunch of other stuff, just years of junk back there. So you got to get a shop vac in there and clean it while you've got that out. You might as well. I'm actually putting AC in mine, so I really want to do some work. Here you can see the fuel gauge contacts. This is where the fuel gauge, it just slides right in and pulls right out. It's a good opportunity to go in there and clean those. And like I said, just take a brush and brush out in there, a paint brush, detailer's brush, just whatever you need to do. But clean all that out, and you can see one of the blue bulbs that I'm put in there just to kind of see how bright they would be. I'm going to try those out. They're super bright. Once you get all that out, you can see where the below the heater gauges, you can see where the radio would go, and that's the starter relay. I took a picture here because I'd done the starter relay mod, and while I had all this apart, and still got to go back in there and tape it up. But a lot of people, this is going to be one of the first things that they do, and that'll kind of help visualize where in the dash it is. You can't see that there with all the pieces on top, but hopefully with that out, that'll give you the people that are just kind of getting into the M1009s and they're doing that starter relay mod. I think on Steel Soldiers, one of the best forums out that I've found. A guy, Doghead, I believe, has a Doghead starter relay mod. He had tons of information on that forum, way better than what I'm probably doing here, about how to do things. So just go on there and research and figure out how to do this. But like I said, mainly I'm just posting some pictures up in this video to help out people that have never taken it apart and they just kind of want to visualize what they're going to be looking at. So what you see now is the white plastic. That behind this is where all the ribbon goes. You're going to have one major plug that comes in, the electric plug, that's going to be behind this. And this is kind of a view from the top. I want to show this because this is where you're going to have to reach over and grab that plug and pull it out. You can kind of see the plug there. You're going to reach back there, gently wiggle it back and forth and try and loosen it up. You don't want to put any pressure on that ribbon back there. Stuff's old. You can see the plug there and some of the contacts for the bulbs. there's not a wire going to each individual bulb. The contacts are going to that ribbon board in the back. That's when you pull the plug out, you can kind of see what it looks like. Mine was corroded. A lot of times you get electrical problems in these things. The light's not working, the gauges aren't working. It's because of these contacts, and maybe even a broken contact on the ribbon. So just pull it out, inspect it really good. I cleaned mine up, just kind of brushed everything off again with the detailer's brush, got all the dust and grime off of it, and wanted to clean out inside the dash. That's what I decided to do. There's a full picture of the back, and I think I'd already started dusting here, so a lot of the dust is off. But believe me, there'll be a ton of it on there. I took out each individual one of the bulbs and cleaned it out and replaced it. Cleaned all the contacts on the back. The ribbon in the back of mine looked good. I didn't really see anything broken, but I still went around and, like I said, just tried to clean underneath it the best I could. I didn't take it completely off like some people have suggested to do. I just said, I'll go around and clean it. And I cleaned the contacts, there's copper contacts. I cleaned them with an eraser. There's plenty of materials out there and special things that you can buy, but that's what I chose to do. I took a little flathead, and in each one of these bulbs, you could see where the first of all the contacts need to be cleaned, but also it just wasn't very tight. The bulb didn't slide down in there very tight, and it's just probably because years of bouncing and jiggling around and what have you. So I took and pried each of the tabs up so that there'd be a little bit tighter connection in there, less chance for the bulb to wiggle free while I was driving and go out. I used the 168 long life lamp bulbs. It's what was recommended. There's several out there on the market. You're going to use two different type bulbs. I used some bulb grease in there. Again, not necessary. Some people don't think it's necessary, but in the environment that my rig's going to be in, it's going to need it. High humidity, high water. No sense in not doing it since I had them out. This is where I've cleaned off the dash a little bit. It's hard to believe that that's actually a good bit of cleaning already there. You can kind of see under the dash though. I mean, pine leaves, needles, nests, whatever was back there. I tried to get in with the shop vac and clean it out the best that I could. I'm gonna have to cut out this dash to get some of the vents because I'm going with an in-dash AC system. So, given the fact that there's going to be all kinds of stuff back there, I wanted to get it all cleaned out. You can kind of see behind the glove box back there some of the heater parts. It just where the vents are at, all that I just got in there with a brush, damp rag, vacuum, cleaned it out the best I could. I wasn't gonna spend 2 months back there, but I also wanted it cleaned out the best I could. So hopefully, after seeing that, anybody that wants to go in there and tear apart your dash, you can see that there's not a whole lot to it. And all I can tell you is I'd never done it before. I got in there to do it. I'm, fairly mechanically inclined, but enough to where I've got some tools and have done some things before. But on the electrical side of things, I'm always kind of iffy. So I was a little hesitant to do it, and I said, well, you know what, I'm going to do it. And if I tear something up, hey, I'll get some help fixing it. So if you need to replace your bulbs, replace the dash. If you're going to paint your dash, get in there. It's just a bunch of screws and tabs. Do it. Take some pictures, and hopefully on the next project that I need to do, somebody will have done a video that'll help me out a little bit. So this has been Joe Prepper, and we appreciate you watching the video today. Thank you.